Hi kids. Okay, so we're gonna quickly talk about two people before we launch into the next movie. Those two people being Lon Chaney, Todd Browning. So we'll start with Lon Chaney, go to Todd Browning, then I'll kind of explain why I put them together before we go on to the next movie, which also has to do with Lon Chaney and Todd Browning. So, Lon Chaney, um, both his parents were deaf. So, he and his brother, it says that helped his pantomime skills communicating with his parents. When they were older, they started a mime act together. He was a stage comedian. He married very young and was a stage director. And one day, his wife, who was suffering from depression and other things, burst onto the scene, and she stood in front of him and his fellow actors, and she drank a bottle of mercury. So that was the end of their relationship. Lon packed up his young son Creighton and moved to Hollywood, where he became a very prominent character actor. So this is the silent film era. I think about 1914 is when he makes 1904. Sorry, when he makes his way to Hollywood. Hollywood at that time, as far as makeup goes, it was basically the same as theater. The actors were in charge of their own makeup. The only time a production would provide anything is if you're a bad guy in a beard or anything. So Lon made that his way to stand out, right? So he becomes the man of 1,000 faces. He has his makeup kit. Later on, Encyclopedia Britannica, when they need to write about makeup, they come to Lon Chaney and he writes everything in the encyclopedia about it. So, Man of 1,000 Faces, he was also known for disfiguring and or making himself appear disfigured. Several times in movies, he'd have a missing arm or missing legs, and he would do whatever he could to make his body appear that way. His makeup kit, he would use wire and anything to make his face appear disfigured. One of the first shocking moments in film that you could equate to something from Psycho or The Exorcist, where people leave the theater in disgust, is the scene in Phantom of the Opera. He plays Eric, and in the movie, he reveals his face under the mask, and people went. Also played Quasimodo. He would play, there's a movie where he plays multiple roles, and he plays the guy that shoots him. He was only in one talkie. He died in 1930. He only made one talkie, and in that movie he plays 5 characters. And he had to sign a waiver saying that all 5 voices are his genuine voice. It's him doing the voices. There are little notes here because there's a lot to cover for Lon Chaney. One of his secrets for his makeup skills was he had a wax head of himself made. So he would just practice on the wax head, trying different things to find different looks. What else do we have here? So that's about it. The vaudeville background is something that Todd Browning also has in common. So Todd Browning, as a young man, ran away and joined the circus. And he was a barker, and he was a contortionist, and he was a clown. I believe he was a member of the Ringling Brothers, so he must have been a pretty good clown. And then he also goes to vaudeville and has an act, and he's in early films, in comedies. And then gets drunk and drives his vehicle into a train, and his passenger dies. And he changes careers after that. So then he becomes a director. He is credited as the second unit director on D.W. Griffith's Intolerance, which is listed as one of the AFI's greatest films. So, second unit director is basically the director that shoots all the other stuff that the actors weren't needed for, right? But that's where he got to start. So he started directing films. A lot of his films contain hypnotists or carnival folk. Freaks is a film that he did. It's about circus freaks, and it was banned for a long time. So that's Todd Browning. I paired them together because over the course of 4 years, the two of them made 10 films together. That's quite a rate. They were going to make one more film before Lon Chaney got lung cancer and he died. Or he got lung cancer. He died during the production of the movie they were going to make. And that movie is Dracula. So next we're going to talk about Dracula, but I had to mention Lon Chaney because he's kind of like the father of makeup artists. And yeah, he probably would have been Dracula in Dracula if he had not passed away. So next we'll do Dracula, and I'll try to string that through from Nosferatu. There was something I mentioned in Nosferatu that I didn't explain, so I'll explain that, tie it into Dracula, and that's where we'll go next. So like, subscribe, and see you in the next video.